of a shovel, an axe, some heavy feed trash bags.
Andrew McDonald is a wonderful human being who is like an angel here on earth. So please, we're asking for your assistance. Have you seen these people?
But they were somebody's mother, they were somebody's aunt, somebody's daughter, somebody's sister.
It's time to start caring.
Welcome to Talking News, guys. Please hit that like button and subscribe button right now so you don't forget. Also, see that little notification bell? Hit that if you would like to have notifications whenever I do have new uploads. So on the Kelsey Barrett case, we're going to be covering a little bit of that. So on October 28th, Patrick Frazee will be facing his charges and trial will begin. So Patrick Frazee did make a final court appearance before the actual trial begins on October 28th, and Patrick Frazee is accused of killing his fiancée, 29-year-old Woodland Park mom, Kelsey Barrett. So what this court was about was the judge was ruling whether or not to let in certain evidence. So the judge ruled on two last-minute pieces of evidence during that court appearance. If you're not familiar with this story, you definitely want to be familiar with this story because a lot of people feel like there are other people involved with this case that seem to be getting away with murder. Of course, that person is KK, Crystal Kinney. But she's also pretty much the only evidence the court has because they were not able to locate Kelsey Barrett's body. So Kelsey Barrett, which was a young, beautiful mom, she had a 1-year-old at the time with Patrick Frazee, the accused killer. November 22nd of 2018 was the last time anybody would hear from this young mom. And, you know, she was just a beautiful girl. It's just a shame that it went this way. So this young mom had her life taken by Patrick Frazee, which he was he was arrested December, and faces charges including first-degree murder, solicitation to commit first-degree murder. So what they're expecting in court is there's going to be a pretty much, I call it the Rocky or War of the Roses. So Crystal Kinney, which is the friend of Patrick Frazee / mistress, is expected to testify at the trial after pleading guilty, after she pled guilty to tampering with evidence for disposing Barrett's cell phone. That isn't all that she disposed of, but this plea deal that they're making with her, pretty much, she was a lucky woman because otherwise she would have spent life in jail. So what we're talking about in this video is not that. So like I said, you can refer to my older videos. I'm just kind of giving you a recap. What we're talking about today is the evidence that the judge was ruling whether or not to allow into trial. So one of that pieces of evidence is the judge did rule that the jury can hear the statement from Barrett made to her mother and co-workers about her relationship with Frazee. Now we have heard a little bit of background of things that she said about Frazee, but not very much, because really, if you were to go by what we know right now, it was pretty, according to Barrett's mother, it was a perfect relationship. There was no warnings. There was nothing bad going on. But she's a smart woman and she knew to keep her mouth shut. So what's the second piece of evidence that they're talking about? Well, the second piece of evidence is, for those of you that are animal lovers out there that were worried, you know, whether or not he beat animals, those allegations where he beat cattle and so on will not be allowed into trial. according to the judge, he says it doesn't have value on its particular trial, on this trial. So that doesn't really make sense to me why he's not allowing that. I guess he's afraid that it's going to go and take the light from Kelsey Barrett versus helping her. So, for example, the judge says whether or not Frazee hit a horse does not show intent and does not have any value. His reason for saying that is he says that it does not prove whether Frazee either killed or did not kill Kelsey Barrett. So they were also going over concerns about live tweeting during the trial, and he says he's worried about the credentials on who is legitimate. So I'm very worried of how much information we're going to be able to get as this trial is going. I hope that he decides, a lot of us have been covering this story, have been watching this story, and have been very concerned about this story. I hope that they do keep us well informed. So this article says on Friday's hearing, the judge also heard from both the defense and the prosecutors about the doctrine ruling in the trial, which allows media and other people in the gallery to live tweet their observations. And so, according to KRDO, the judge may update this order. So, like I mentioned earlier, I hope, we are shut out too bad. So it appears that he's going to continue to allow the tweeting, but still, I wish we had more than tweeting. So Frazee's trial, as I mentioned before, is expected to last 3 weeks and will begin October 28th. Now, 9 News will have 2 reporters in the courtroom and will provide updates throughout the process. So I can tell you this right now, what I'm doing is I'm preparing for this trial and for coverage of this trial. For those of you that can't access all this information so easily, so at least you have this one spot. I'll try to do the best I can, but I'm still not set up really that great yet. Now, my channel is growing and I've been collecting a few trolls here and there, and I want to make sure that I let you trolls know that trying to get information out of me quicker than I'm going to give it to you doesn't work. So you can leave nasty comments or whatever you wish, like Gonzalez, but it's not going to happen. I do not tolerate that type of behavior here. Here we work as a family and we treat each other well. So every now and then you get that one person, they know that you know information that you cannot give out right now. And so sometimes I go to the community and let you know some things that are going on, but I'm not able to finish the story completely, but I give you a highlight of what's coming up soon. And so you have some people that are trying to manipulate you, trying to get the information. It doesn't work with me, so don't try. Oftentimes I do have information that nobody else has, and I have integrity, I have respect for other people, and I value their cases. There's just some things you cannot say, but sometimes I can give you a hint if there's something about to happen soon, and I will be going public with it. I'll do that occasionally. But I do know several things that's going on with a few cases, and I know some things that media don't even know because the families do not trust media. But again, that's why you should stick around. Eventually, when the families say, yeah, I think it's okay to share it, they're going to let me share it here. Bonnie Webb is another example of that. Whenever the family is ready, they've got some information they want me to share, and I'm going to share that when they say it's okay. Now, last night was a hard night. We're finding out that they might have found the 3-year-old cupcakes. And for me, and I know for you as well, it's always difficult when you're dealing with children. As you can tell, I can hardly talk today. I'm exhausted. I could not sleep. But I'm going to take a break I'm going to try to take a break. Y'all know how I do. If something comes up, I am scared that somebody's not going to cover what I want people to know, and I end up just going out there and covering it anyways, and then trying to take a break again. But what we're hearing is, and it should be coming out anytime this morning, they will be adding charges to those suspects that they had behind bars at one point, and then ended up, well, they have already been arrested again, but adding those charges is going to take a little bit of time. So the police absolutely knew a lot more than they were sharing with us. I'm sure the parents did as well, which made sense as to some of the things that they said that we really couldn't put two and two together until last night. So this world has really grown to be very evil and sick. You would think that we get better as we evolve, but it seems that we're kind of going backwards. And to figure out why that is so, we need to ask ourselves why. Why are we going backwards instead of forwards? I don't think most people are going to like the answers they come up with. So, sending prayers out to their family, definitely, because that's just not the outcome we were looking for Cupcakes. We were really hoping that this one would be a happy ending, as we always hope for happy endings. So what I want to do is try to take time to make a documentary on abduction in America and possibly even around the world. It's just there's so much information, I don't know if I can pull it off. I really hope that these parents start waking up and realizing, they don't think it can happen to them. They think, well, I'm in an area where I know everybody, I've been here my entire life. I trust everybody here. Well, the problem is you have people that are out there, like I mentioned before, like with Savannah Spurlock, they're out there hunting you. They're hunters. And the hunt is that's the biggest part of the thrill besides the money. So young parents, wake up. I know it doesn't make sense that it's getting worse, but unfortunately it is, and you cannot even predict these things. I mean, it's not okay. There's no way. These people are thinking on different levels, and levels that have never been even talked about before. I mean, there are things that are new. There's new ways of hunting victims, children especially, that people can't fathom. They just don't understand. Their mind doesn't work that way. But yes, it's modernized crime, abductions and kidnappings, and people have the means that they didn't used to. And as you know, that guy, Patrick, who had the child videos on his phone, he got out of jail real quick. So if it's making money, guys, they're gonna do it. All right, guys, I want to make sure I mention that with the Kelsey Barrett case coming up and a few other cases, I'm going to be super duper busy. We are going to have something to look forward on this case, because a lot of us are wondering which direction it's going to go, and how Patrick Frazee is going to approach pointing his finger at Crystal Kinney. So while the nurse is going to be making her plea deal a reality, we're going to finally hear more details than you expected. I'm pretty certain about that one, that you're going to hear some new details never heard before, and then some of it's going to probably say, it's going to make that light switch click on. But will Patrick Frazee be able to take the tables and turn them around? See, Patrick Frazee is a manipulator. That is what he's good at. That is not Crystal Kinney's area of expertise. Hers is, she's good at being a victim. You know, she likes to be dominated, and he's going to dominate in court. So we'll see where that goes. A lot of people are suspecting that Patrick Frazee is going to claim that she's the one that come up with every plan, which some of us suspect might be it, especially when you're talking about the poisoning and the candles that are involved in this case. You know, most guys don't come up with these little prissy, girly ideas easily. And so that's really the case with Patrick Frazee, because he's kind of that tough cowboy. He doesn't seem the type that's going to know about scented candles, and the type that would want to poison somebody. So, like I said, it's going to be interesting. And I'm sorry, guys, I improv this. I did not have any material except for at the beginning to go by. So this is all from memory. But I know about you guys, but I am ready for this Patrick Frazee trial to begin, and I want to see justice. I just hoped before trial started that they did find the remains of Kelsey Barrett. So right now, I want to send my blessings out to Kelsey Barrett's family, friends, and loved ones. We are here to back you up. We're seeking that justice just like you guys, and I hope that you do receive the justice you deserve, as well as sending love and hugs out to Cupcake's family. This is going to be tough. It's just the beginning. So they're going to need as much support as they can get right now, especially as we await the DNA evidence and things like that, unless they're able to do a visual identity. They're not able to do that, then they'll go to the dental records, and to not do that in DNA. So if they're able to visually identify her with a witness, it could take hours to days. Dental records, it could take hours, days, weeks. And then finally DNA can take weeks, the months. So it can take a while. Just depends. But I do feel like the Birmingham police really did an excellent job. Probably one of the best jobs I've seen since I started covering cases. Very proud of them. But I feel like they'll have probably, as I'm making this, be able to give a confirmation of an identity. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for caring. You know I love you guys, and I appreciate everybody here watching my channel. Well, it's our channel. We appreciate it, guys. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.